All right, so it's time to check out all my relief vegetables that I've created, plus my stencils that I made as well. So I'm going to show how to print each one of these. What I've done is I've taken my paper that I made before and I taped it down because it was curling up on me pretty badly, and that just kind of helps. So I put a piece of cardboard underneath, a little bit of masking tape on the sides, but I also have some extra paper here so that I can see what these look like, so that when I print them they can be reliable, and if I want to make any changes I certainly can. So I've got all my paint in here. I'm probably just going to keep it really simple and start with black, or maybe a darker color like blue or red or something like that, just to help me get started. And so what I'm going to do is spread it out in another container, because sometimes if you brush it straight onto the block it's hard to get a good consistent amount on there. Like in this case, I have to push pretty hard and get it all over. So I might have to paint it. If you find that you do have to paint it, the most important thing is to just add a little bit to the surface. You don't want to get it all in the little cracks and stuff. So don't put too much paint on, build it up fast. Acrylic paint dries quickly, so now we print, see what it looks like. Having a hard time getting that spot to print, so I might push a little harder, see what I can do there. Looks good. Okay, cool. So this is what's known as a proof here. So it's proof of what's on my block. I think what I'm going to do is maybe go for some blue here. Mix with that black. Since it wasn't working before for me to load it up on the plate, I'm just going to paint it directly on the potato, especially since I made these cuts so deeply. So. But what's cool about this too is that you can put kind of brush stroke stuff in there. Oh, it's a good idea to hang on to your potato. And sometimes you can get little proof offs where it's a little less, but if you want it that thick again or that dark again, you got to ink it up one more time. I'm pretty happy with these, so I'm going to go ahead and start. Another thing you can do if you're careful is you can dip it into color. I think what I'm going to do to start with is maybe take some of this blue and paint this edge of my potato here blue. And I want something contrasting with this, so I'm going to go blue on one side, probably black on the other, just so that I can see it a little bit better. Kind of see how that goes. Drop that right on top there. Sometimes if you get a little too much on there, it smears around. You don't get quite the pattern you're looking for. So I'm pretty happy with that. Press kind of hard so you can see some of the colors underneath. I think for my carrot, I'm just going to go ahead and try for like straight up blue. I just dipped it in one of my phthalo blues there, and I'm just going to spread some of that blue and black over the surface. So I really like to emphasize the idea of building up textures with my students or patterns. Can't say I'm real excited about this one in particular, but it was worth a shot. Again, that's what's cool about printmaking, is that you can always go back and try it again. You don't like what you've got on there. I think I'm going to go ahead and mix up a green. I'm going to get some blue in here. Looks like I've got some black mixed in there though, so I need a clean brush. Get some yellow. Mix up a good little green here, see what I can get out of that. Hopefully it's not too grody. I'm liking that, that'll work. Again, I'm trying to use cool colors on top of this because I want it to really contrast with what I already have on the paper, so that I can actually see my print. So I'm going to try this in this area. I like that pretty well. Could probably add a little bit more paint, as it were. Really dip it in there, get a lot on there. Alright, let's try smiley face here, see what he does. Just gently going over the surface here so I can see what's going to catch ink and what won't. Now you can kind of see my wonky smiley face. I think I'm going to add just a little bit of yellow to that guy. Do some mixing right on the piece. A little bit more paint, because these are not coming out as well as I'd like. I'd like them to be a little bit more bold. Oh, I like that pretty well. That's pretty cool. Try another print next to him. A little bit lighter. Again, even though you see me moving it just a little bit, it's best to try to just push it if you can. Pretty good looking smiley face. All right, let's check this one out. I'm really interested in this one. So I'm gonna try, again, some blue probably on this guy. And then do a little bit of yellow brushing over that as well. See what I can get in terms of the texture on top of that. It actually came out kind of cool. I'm digging it. So we've got a lot of printing on here now, so I'm probably going to hold off for just a minute and get some stencils in there too, because I want to try them both out. And again, if I don't like it, I'll just start over again. I do like this blue here. What's cool for kids is that they can kind of compose as they go. I'm getting some really beautiful grains out of that. I'm liking that pretty well. So they can try placing things in different areas, printing some things over other things. Try a little violet on there. So mix in a little bit of red and blue together. So it's like compositional drawing, mark making as you're cutting these things, but also the idea that you're developing texture and you're using color principles as well, which is very painterly. It's running out fast. I'm just gonna go in here with a whole bunch of red and then print like crazy up in here, create some cool textures. I'm gonna really build this area up with a lot of cool texture, because I'm not liking my previous leaves. I see a lot of my students just start painting with the potatoes. That works too. Let's see if I do the same thing in this corner. I'm liking how that turned out. Kind of hard to see the texture. There's a texture back here. I'm gonna try that for sure. Kind of smear that on there. That didn't show up very well. It's a little better there, I guess. Okay, so now that I've made a thorough mess of this, I'm gonna try one of my stencils here. This area looks dry, so I'm gonna go ahead and put one of my lightning bolts over the top. So when you're doing this, it's important to make sure that you're brushing from the outside to the inside. Because if you go the other way, like if I were to go this way, that paint would sneak underneath there and it would change the shape on the outside a little bit. Kind of like what happened right there. But what I like about this is it gives kids kind of like a little stencil to work with. So if they want to go in there and change it at all, or if they want to, add different colors or something, it can work out pretty well. I'm just going to set that one aside. Let's see, where's my heart? There it is. I think what I'm going to do is just go ahead and paint this out all purple, because I decided I do not like my leaves there. So I'm going to go with just some red and blue in this spot right here. A little bit more blue. I'm going to let that dry for a little bit. I'm going to come back to it, and I'm going to print like a really bright color over the top with my heart. I think that would be perfect. Cool. All right. So now I'm gonna flip this around. Have a second go on this with my cool colors, and then maybe I can work it out a little better.